Good time of day or night to everybody joining us live, and hello everybody who's watching this recorded after this event. The recording will, as usually, stay on all our channels on LinkedIn and YouTube. These days, we stop broadcasting anywhere else. And today we're going to be talking about what Microsoft did just recently. Well, relatively recently, I think already 3 or 4 weeks passed since they said enterprises, large organizations that used to have a discount on the price list, predefined on the price list, the bigger your organization, the lower your price was. That is going away. And to give you some numbers, effectively, organizations, I think between 2,400 and 5,000 seats used to have 6% roughly discount on online services, Microsoft 365, Copilot, all of those, modern licenses. Slightly bigger organizations had 9% discounts, and large enterprises, and when I'm saying large, it's 25,000 plus, so kind of medium large to large. They used to enjoy roughly 12% discount of the like every month's price. Done, gone from the 1st of November. All the new purchases will be flat price. So that is roughly the news. And it's shocking. So it is a price increase. But on the other hand, no, it's not. Overall, the products, the baseline, the advertised price of the products, what you see online, it stays the same. So to show it from a bit of a different perspective, so what you see as an online price for Microsoft 365 E5, for example, on the Microsoft's page, this price will be the starting price for every organization, regardless of its size. So no more upfront discounts based on volume, which used to be the foundation of the enterprise agreements financial system. And I have Daryl with me, our my business partner, our chief negotiation officer, who at the time when it all started was a Microsoft, and he effectively, I keep joking, I blame him for promoting and starting the enterprise agreement program. Yes, he did. So, Daryl, that is the news. That is effectively the news. So, what can you try and explain it from the business point of view? So, what does it mean?
Well, the bottom line is that base pricing is going to increase by anywhere from 6 to roughly 12% for all organizations over 2,400 users. Um, I think it's a huge change in the dynamics of the business relationship between Microsoft and large enterprise organizations. It's basically changing the fundamental, um, I don't want to say commitment, between Microsoft and organizations that are the leaders, the innovative leaders in the market, and have been Microsoft's business partners for over 20, 25 years. And Microsoft's basically shaken up the entire dynamics of providing a benefit based on volume. What it means is that you are no longer regarded as to my opinion, if I'm looking at it as a consultant, as a valued customer, um, as your overall spend, based on size, continues to grow, and the benefit has been a built-in benefit for the last 25 years. So it's almost, I'd almost call it a standard business practice that has been benefiting Microsoft's best partners, best customers. I call partners because at the end of the day, um, most of these organizations don't have an alternative today for the majority of the products, of the online products. Um, and one would expect that you keep your partners close. You don't upset your partners. Again, partners in this case are your large end customers. And when you literally overnight um, cut that benefit without providing any way, um, any alternative that will provide
Mm.
the same level of commitment, I would view it as almost lack of respect by Microsoft.
Betrayal. Can I say betrayal?
You
Am
can
I allowed?
absolutely say betrayal. I'm a very vocal um, advocate for our customers, and what I'm really surprised is that the market is quiet. Um, and large organizations that are going to be dramatically affected by this change, on average, yes, say 8 to 10% on average. Then we're looking at the size of
Mm.
organization, looking at the previous price increase of E3 and other changes to the price list over the last 3 years. You're looking at, on average, a 20 to 25% price increase. Now, if any other vendor in the market would go to an enterprise organization and uplift the price list by 25% over 3 years, they would be out the door. They would be kicked out or humiliated by procurement and by decision makers. The most amazing thing is that with Microsoft, and we'll talk about why, the big why, is that nobody's actually raising their voice. It's like being humbly accepted that, oh, well, yes, you can do whatever you want to us. You can increase our Microsoft spend, you can increase our budgets, and we're basically going to take it laying down. Um, Again, I am continuously surprised, and not to the better, by the market reaction. What it means is that Microsoft is learning again and again and again that they can do whatever they want and they can get away with it.
Can they though? Because yeah, look at what's going on, and how many municipalities and companies tried to switch to open source. Some succeeded, but all the large, high-profile cases. You read you read an article in, say, this year, that in Germany a certain municipality decided, we've had enough. We're going to go off Microsoft. I give you 90% probability next year that there's going to be an article. We tried and we failed and we wasted millions because, well, it's a ubiquitous technology, ubiquitous ecosystem that you almost have to have, so you communicate with your peers seamlessly. They get the same documents formatted in the same way. I have I can't blame, because I don't have evidence for it, but I used to be a sysadmin for years, and I remember us trying different kinds of technologies at the time when Microsoft wasn't everywhere. They just rolled out their Exchange server, for example, and we tried first Outlook, and it seemed to me that they almost deliberately made Outlook not really compatible with competing servers. So there was always a bit of a friction, something that could, to be honest, I also spent times writing code. I could have fixed it on the code, and we used to joke between ourselves that they do this on purpose. So you buy Exchange, you buy Outlook, you stay in the ecosystem. Don't go away. See, they work together. Well, why do you want to use Outlook to read Gmail? Yeah, I want to remind everybody, this is a Q&A session. So Katie, hello, really nice to see you. Everybody else, feel free to say hello, ask your questions. So whilst you're warming up, what we did before this session is we published a form and we advertised it on LinkedIn where you could submit us your questions. And I'm going to go through those questions, ask them, read them. Maybe I'll answer them. Most of the time, Daria will take them. But use the chat, please, right now. On LinkedIn, on YouTube, we're going to see your questions. We're going to put them on screen, and we're going to discuss them. So the first question I have is pure mathematical. We are currently at level C pricing with about 8,000 users on Microsoft 365 E5. Can you walk through how much extra we'll be paying annually after November 1st? Daryl, do you mind if I take this one?
Yeah, please do.
So 8,000 level C. So if we go into a new subscription November 1st, how much more we're going to pay? So difficult without the numbers in front of me, but we did an estimation for 25,000 users. So that's level D, E5. That is what I think it was 2 million a year plus. So in this case, 8,000 users level C. So let's discuss. So we're talking about 600K
On
per
average.
year. Yeah, take what you're paying right now, add 9%. That'll be, well, actually, at 10% because we're counting up. That is going to be your price increase. Yeah. So the other one, Daryl, this is for you. We've got a 3-year EA that doesn't expire until 2027. Until 2027. Are we
2 years
protected
from now.
until then, or will new services be affected immediately?
So the straightforward answer is that if you sign or have signed an enterprise agreement prior to November 1st, 2025, you have got full price protection until that agreement ends. So for that specific customer, they will not be affected until the renewal date in whatever month it is in 2027.
I think the devil in the detail here. I'm reading this question again. Will new services we add? So
Well,
what
new
Daryl just said.
services, so it really
Yeah.
depends. Again, yes, that's new services that you do not have price protection for. So if the if well, let's try and address two scenarios. For all products that you have in your current agreement signed prior to November 1st, and you have a price for them, you will not be affected. If there is an online product that you have not yet, that is not part of your current EA, just say you want to add F3 licenses midterm, and you don't have a price currently, yes, potentially, again, potentially, we haven't seen the price list yet. Potentially, yes, you're going to be paying the new price because the only price hold that you have is for products that are part of your customer price sheet, your CPS. If it's not part of the CPS, any additional products will be priced at per the prices as of that purchase date.
With examples, you have you bought E3 for everyone. Didn't buy a single E5 license. By the way, that's the recommendation. Take one, and then you decide to add E5 later in the game. You're not gonna have any volume discounts anymore on that one after November. Yeah.
Correct.
So we
And
have
you
a.
won't have the same, by the way, you won't have the negotiated discount as an automatic discount added to your price list. So that's also a misunderstanding that we come across all the time, is that there's a concept that if you negotiated, just say, a 5% discount on your E3 licenses, that when you come and you add additional, just say, E5 or F3 or E1 licenses that you didn't previously have, that you're going to get the same 5% discount. No, you're not. You're going to get list price if it wasn't pre-negotiated.
We have a live question from Diane. She's asking, what negotiation points do you recommend going into an EA renewal? I assume, Diane, but please feel free to correct me, that you're talking about renewal that is happening now or just after November, and you hit with these cancelled discounts. So what can you use as a negotiation leverage? That's my understanding.
So a very, very general question, and I'm going to try and make it specific because uh, leverage points need to be specific to your request and to your EA. So just for example, on the bottom line price increase. So if you're not fortunate enough to have an early renewal, again, I'm just mentioning the best practice now, not long to go, a month to go, for all organizations that have got a renewal either end of November, end of December, or first quarter of 2026 is to enter into immediate negotiations with Microsoft for an early renewal in order to lock in the current list price and avoid that additional price increase. And then you're going to get that 3-year lock in. So, yes, ours expires in May. So, one, I will try and have an early renewal, enter into negotiations today. It's a bit late in the game, but still absolutely possible. Um, one is add as many products, at least one quantity of every product that you can, online product or any product that you expect with with a high probability that you're going to be using in the future in the next 3 years. Um, so, for example, if you're not utilizing any of the F SKUs, or you're not utilizing E1, for example, or any other online service that could be Visio project or anything else, and there's a whole there's a list that's never ending. Um, Go through that list, and most of those products are additional products. They're not enterprise-wide products, so like E5 or so on. So it's easy to add one product. Just add one SKU, lock in the price, potentially again try lock in the same discount as you have on your main E3 or E5 product, and then at least you've got peace of mind for the next 3 years. Additional concessions they vary. Additional concessions can be anywhere around aggregated pricing over 3 years, could be around monthly payment schedule, could be around multi-tenant usage, mergers and acquisitions. The list goes on and goes on and goes on. Um, it's the it's not about what concessions you can receive. It's what is relevant to your organization, and how to leverage that in your specific negotiation. A good example that I always like bringing to the table is everything around mergers and acquisitions. So if you know of anything coming down the line and you need specific wording, or you need a buffer period for that merger or acquisition, sorry, or there's a divestiture that that's going to happen. That's the kind of concessions that you need to start discussing around the renewal term.
Thanks, Daryl. Yeah, you talk about concessions. When I published my first opinion piece on what's happened, I said that was my opinion at the time, that we are expecting that Microsoft may keep discounts for large enterprises, especially if that was a deal that was done by a historic account manager that always maintained good relationship. But it will be presented as a goodwill, and in my understanding, and I'll ask you, Daryl, to continue this line, because you are the chief negotiation officer. I'm more on the licensing, puzzling, and optimization side. We're seeing this. I mean, you saw it this morning. And it's not the only example when Microsoft actually emailed and said, yes, the prices are going up, but because we are such good partners, we actually decided we're going to keep this as a gesture of goodwill. And I'm thinking, this basically means that normally in the negotiation, you ask a lot of things. You have your best desirable outcome, most desirable outcome. And by putting that discount as a gesture of goodwill, they effectively shift that line between what's achievable and what's not, because now they've already given you something, and it's very difficult to ask for more. It doesn't mean you have to stop asking. So what can you tell about it, though?
This goes back to almost a manipulative relationship between Microsoft and end customers, where it becomes almost us doing you a favor, holding on to your current discounts. It's not a corporate decision anymore. It is an individual gesture to assist you, or of goodwill, as you pointed out, Sasha. Um, yes, we see that. We're seeing it now. It's something that you can use as leverage in the negotiation. Absolutely. Use the relationship card, because it's going to run out very soon, that relationship card. Um, so utilize that relationship card aggressively. Actually, that's what I recommend, because at the end of the day, and this is something that you need to remember. Yes, you're negotiating with Microsoft because Microsoft Corporate, this blanket called Microsoft Corporate, that changes the rules, or publishes new rules, and then the individual account manager or account team or commercial manager needs to implement those rules. Um, Microsoft basically uses that differentiation, and the account reps also do it. They distance themselves from the Microsoft corporate. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And I used to work for Microsoft. Um, you'll find that the account reps and the accounting almost feel they feel uncomfortable, and they like trying to find excuses for why their employee Microsoft is actually doing what they're doing, and they like wiggling and trying to find ways to provide you with a concession, or with the current, maybe current pricing, or similar discounts. So again, this is not going to last long, because when the account reps need to start meeting their annual budgets, they will again refer back to the rule book very, very quickly. So maximize this. It's going to be short lived, until the next round of happenings with Microsoft.
Thank you, Daryl. I have another question in pre-live questions. What about CSP? We're currently on EA without 5,000 users. That's level C, isn't it?
Level
Borderline B and C.
borderline, it's B.
Could CSP actually be cheaper now with these changes?
My standard answer would be potentially yes. Funny enough, CSP with the current rebates that the channel is receiving potentially will be cheaper than standard level A EA pricing. So again, Microsoft has yet to publish the official new price list. Based on what we're hearing, it's going to be very close to level A, but again, this is a bit of guesswork. But assuming it's going to be level A pricing, what that means is that CSP with maximum discounts by the channel will be in line or even cheaper than Microsoft EA pricing. Now, that, to my opinion, again, it just goes to show that Microsoft is basically, I'd almost say they don't care anymore uh, about the financial negotiations. For them, it's all about meeting revenue targets um, and financial expectations, especially in a situation where they feel very, very comfortable um, about their position in the market and within enterprise organizations and the alternatives organizations have to Microsoft being zero. Actually, we can put it in many words, and there, and you can try, and you can um, try and fluff it up that Microsoft has a competitor on every corner and for every product. With all large organizations, even medium organizations, um, there's no real alternative for most products as everything's embedded, connected, and configured to work together, as you pointed out at the beginning, Sasha, and even more today with the 365 suite. So you actually don't have any alternative, meaning not, it doesn't mean that you can't negotiate. You just really need to become really smart at negotiating and leveraging negotiation tactics that have got nothing to do with licensing and got nothing to do with IT, actually. And this goes back to real life, real world negotiations. Um, and I can give an example to what I mean. So again, what all the examples are from actual negotiations going on, either finalized or going on now. No customer names, of course, will be used. But I want to just give an example of a very large organization, well known, home brand, and huge deal renewal, early renewal due to the fact that 1st of November is coming up and the renewal's in May and so on and so on. And we pushed for an early renewal. We're into negotiations. The core negotiation team is now in a situation where they have capped the negotiation ability with the current Microsoft accounting. The usual end game tactics of another 0.5% here, 0.3% here on this product, that product, are almost exhausted. Basically, the next step now is got nothing to do with licensing and got nothing to do with additional products. Microsoft is basically saying bring new products or bring additional quantities. Of course, Copilot is the number one request. Then we can consider additional discounts. We can argue if that's even legal to do that, but I'm not a lawyer. Uh, Whoever is suing Microsoft today is suing Microsoft, anti-competitive strategies, and so what. Not my area. I'm not voicing my opinion on that. But you can argue, how fair that is for competition, of course. Um, and the go-to strategy now is really to roll up your sleeves and get aggressive with Microsoft and start using high level executive relationship. Um, and that's basically pausing initiatives, projects, PR, um, even joint conferences that are planned. Now, if you don't understand as an organization the impact you have on Microsoft's revenue not direct revenue, but indirect revenue through their use of your brand in any way, then you're missing out on one of the biggest opportunities you have. So if you're a large enterprise and you either have a tight relationship and you co-PR whatever, or any kind of other type of um, partnership activity, you need to understand that that net impact that you are contributing to Microsoft's bottom line is not in the millions, it's in the tens of millions, because you have an impact on the ecosystem and on the decision makers of other organizations. So if you're looking to impact the negotiation, stop thinking in the standard lines of a one-to-one negotiation and the impact on the end result of that. Start looking at the bigger picture. And by the way, it's not only about positive relationship with Microsoft. If organizations start to get a bit more assertive, bad PR goes a long way as well. So you need to start thinking outside of the box, because Microsoft has literally changed the playbook, literally changed the playbook, and organizations are not reacting. So, yeah.
So, so many, aren't they overwhelmed by all these changes? Because this is very interesting what's going on. In the previous years, we even had monthly live events on this channel where I explained what Microsoft changed in licensing. Now, licensing changes almost disappeared, and it almost seems like it's quiet, but actually it's not, because instead of licensing changes, now we have consistent financial policy changes, move towards average revenue per agent, discontinuing these discounts potentially. And I want to ask you that question, Daryl, because I'm still not certain that this is done to move everybody to MCA and new agreements, but it's an option. And even I said in one of our videos, I said, yeah, I think that is going to happen. I'm still not entirely convinced that this is driven specifically to kill enterprise agreement. And having worked with so many procurement, over hundreds of companies, both you and me, I have seen very clever procurement persons that understand the Microsoft renewals as much as they can. They're not really in depth of this. And is this, you said this, but is this really just a bold move? You know, what are you going to do? What are you going to, you're just going to pay this price? Or is it a tactic to do something else? And we actually have one of the questions. I know it's a very complex question that I'm asking, but I'm just trying to understand and trying to explain to our audience. Here's a good example. We've been pushed towards Microsoft 365 Copilot. Who isn't? Is Microsoft using these pricing changes as a leverage to force Copilot adoption? What's going on?
Again, this is a question I would leave for the regulators in the market that basically do nothing, um, and have done nothing for the last 25 years. And everything they've done is basically, even with Teams now, it's a bit pathetic. What's happened with the reverse of bringing Teams back in? I'm not even going to go there. I don't know what I think about the regulators, and because at the end of the day, it's all politics. Let's not get confused. It's about personal egos, personal benefits of being promoted, promotions, and so on and so on. So I don't believe in I don't believe in that. I believe in the market and in the market force. And the market what's the market? The market at the end of the day is individuals within organizations that negotiate and take decisions. That's the market. And I think what's happened is that there is fatigue. They are overwhelmed. The individuals that are responsible for the Microsoft negotiation are overwhelmed with the complexity. They are overwhelmed with the um, difficulty of negotiating with Microsoft. And at the same time, they are overwhelmed, I'd almost say, with the internal requirements by the organizations, by their own organization, to move forward at a rapid pace. But at the same time, the, keep the organization at, at 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 the tech edge with all the new AI, and of course Copilot is AI and everything else, and then actually try and keep the budget flat. Now we all know that's an impossible task. So when you have when you have an impossible task, what happens is that you basically give up, and you then present back into the market, or individuals are presenting back into their organization, sorry, a situation where they just like giving up on the ability to even negotiate or to um, contribute actual savings. So it's a bit of a game that everybody's playing around the complexity of Microsoft. And at the end of the day, I call it Microsoft fatigue, or the inability to actually negotiate standard discounts. Because negotiations have become complex, most individuals are either fatigued, and I'm repeating myself once more, or they just don't have the knowledge and know-how and experience to negotiate at that level. That is also something that we're seeing now, is that the old school tactics don't work. And you really, really need to get smart and educated. And if you don't, you can write down a check for another 15, 20% to Microsoft. I would say don't even bother negotiate. Don't waste your time. Go on to some other area where you feel comfortable that you can get a discount. Don't negotiate if you're not up to it. It's as simple as that. But if you actually take your job seriously and you feel responsible, then you absolutely need to opt your game. Otherwise, you're going to lose.
Thanks, Daryl. Yeah, I put a ticker on screen so everybody remembers what we're talking today. Microsoft is raising prices, but not raising prices. They're removing predefined, promised programmatic, how we call them, volume discounts that you always used to get from Microsoft when you were larger. Not anymore. Now it's something that you have to negotiate again, and we'll probably be able to negotiate it once. I don't think that's gonna be carried across to the next renewal in 2029, or whichever your year is.
I want
And
to, I want to, sorry,
yeah,
Sasha, I want to just add that, and I don't want to be misunderstood by what I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't negotiate, and I'm not saying you can't get really, really good discounts and concessions, but you need to work harder. Um, and I want to give another example of out of the box thinking. What we are encountering now over the last 12 months around Copilot is actually mind boggling. Why? Organizations are taking an almost automatic decision that Copilot is the default AI solution for the organization. Why? Because Microsoft, very much as you said, they are actually repeating the same bundling strategy that they've been doing for the last 25 years, and at an incredible success rate. You can only look in awe at the success rate. That's why I said regulators have done a shit job in that respect. So I can only take my hat off to Microsoft with a lot of respect for what they're doing from a commercial, financial, business perspective. And they're doing exactly the same with Copilot. And again, what's happening is that nobody's learned anything in the market. Everybody's repeating the same mistakes regarding accepting the bundle offering, accepting the almost automatic connection between bring Copilot, we'll discount something else. And organizations are not challenging alternatives in the market. So yes, to my opinion, again, from a competition, from a competitive, uh, innovative aspect, of course, it's going to kill smaller competitors. Let's not, I don't know, nobody is naive. What this does to the competitive landscape and to innovation, happen to teams and to Outlook alternatives and to Word and Excel alternatives. We've all been there, but again, everybody's got a very short memory. So one of the tactics that you can use if you want to do a bit of the hard work, again, this goes back to doing a bit of the hard work, is have an RFP or even an RFI on your next generation of AI solutions. Why are you opting in for free Copilot licenses or an initial quantity of discounted quantity pricing for Copilot and a free implementation, and then going back and complaining why your price has increased and why you locked into the platform? Why don't you set out at the beginning? Don't rush it. Set out an RFI, then an RFP, and then provide Microsoft with some real world competition. Have a real BATNA and a best alternative to negotiated agreement. Don't complain that your pricing is going up, that there's no discounts when you're not really getting your job done at the end of the day and creating real competitive alternatives for your organization. There's a lot to be done. You just need to pick up the slack and do it.
Technical questions about negotiations. And I think I'll display them both and read them both. We've got a complex deployment with multiple subsidiaries across different countries. How does this affect our global EA structure?
It doesn't. You're just going to be paying more everywhere in the world.
Amazing. What about unified support? And I also add Azure and other spends with Microsoft. We're paying about 200,000 annually. Should we be renegotiating this as a part of our overall Microsoft relationship? How do we utilize all this? Because as we know, Microsoft likes to divide and conquer.
This goes back to the same example that I provided regarding RFPs on competitive products, on RFI and a competitive product. Unified support has alternatives.
Yeah.
Again, organizations have become what's the word I'm looking for?
Complacent.
Complacent. Thank you for that. In regard to unified support, nobody's challenging any alternatives. It's just a safe way forward. But then again, your unified support is connected back to your volume licensing or licensing spend. What it means is that not only is your EA pricing, online service pricing, going up by 6 to 12%, that's going to have a direct effect on everything else, being one of them unified support. So your unified support contract is going to go up. Are you receiving more value for that additional cost? That is arguable. Would I recommend that you go back and you challenge Microsoft on that? Yes, I would. Would I recommend that you go and receive a competitive alternative? And there are a number of competitors out there that it might not be like to like, but is it good enough? Are you really satisfied with the unified support that you're receiving, or are you just used to working with Microsoft? Again, if organizations don't challenge Microsoft, I would say don't complain about paying more. I've got what we do at SAMexpert, if you haven't worked with us before, is we challenge our customers. I think maybe that is the most important part of our service. Yes, we know licensing pretty well. Yes, we've negotiated hundreds, thousands, I've stopped counting, of agreements. And we bring a hell of a lot of experience. But I think what we do is that we challenge our end customers. We up their level of competency in negotiating. And we don't let them get comfortable with mediocre results.
No.
So what I say is that now if you want to work hard and you want to bring real value, then challenge yourself. It's not going to get easier. It's actually going to get a damn lot more difficult in the next 12 to 24 months.
Daryl, this is such a perfect ender for this live. I was thinking, when are we going to end this? To be honest, I don't want to dilute this message. I think this is the most important thing that you said today. Don't accept mediocre deals. Push harder. Thank you, everybody who's been here with us today, who sent us your questions up front, and those who chatted with us live. Our events, we still continue doing live events. We're going to change the frequency to bi-weekly because I think we had too many this year. Follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube. Ask your questions about Microsoft renewals, Microsoft audits, anything related to Microsoft cost management. We don't sell Microsoft licenses. And you know why? Because we don't care. We don't care about sales. We're not going to push you to an unfavorable deal. It's a deliberate decision. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us today on both YouTube and LinkedIn, and all the best in your business endeavors and personal lives.
Thank you, everyone.